I just want to welcome everyone who is here with us, and thank you so much for joining us tonight for our home buying webinar. We are going to go over a lot of great information regarding purchasing a home. And to start off, I would like to introduce our special guest tonight. Julie Sanders with Southeast Texas Properties is here with us, and she is going to be giving us so many great tips, a lot of useful information tonight in regards to home buying. So welcome, Julie. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you, Megan. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you so much. And Julie, I'd love to just give you an opportunity if you'd like to talk a little bit about Southeast Texas Properties and what you guys bring to the Southeast Texas community in regards to purchasing a home.
Okay, so we're Southeast Texas Properties. We're located here in Mid-County, and our office works as a team, and we are actually all from this area. We work here, we live here, we worship here, and we know our neighborhoods of what we're selling. We have had our office here for 15 years, and prior to that, there was some real estate experience for many years before with our broker, Neil Sanders, which is my husband. So we love working here with people that are in our own community, and there's a lot going on in the market right now.
Yes, there is. And I think we all know that, the market has changed so much within the last few years. I'd love for you to touch a little bit about that with us. You guys have been in our area for so long now, and I know that you've seen a lot over the years. So tell us a little bit about what the current housing market looks like and what that means for someone who may potentially be wanting to purchase a home.
Okay, one thing we are hearing is two things. One, interest rates, the talk of interest rates, which the Fed interest rate does not affect our mortgage rate. So that is something that we're hearing from consumers that isn't exactly how things are affected in the mortgage rates. So our mortgage rates are still really good. They have creeped up just a little bit, but they're still really good. Our market has not slowed down in the sense of some people saying, oh, I hear the market has slowed down. Well, really, it's just become a little bit more normal to what it used to be. It was accelerated and it was super hot really since about 2019, and even kind of post-COVID. That was some of the most active years in real estate here in Mid-County and the highest values that we have ever seen. So we have seen the market just stabilize a little bit to where it's a little bit more normal. It's just not as accelerated. It is still very hot. It's still very busy. It's very competitive. We are fortunate that we live in a really great community. So the housing market is competitive. So if you are a home buyer, then you're likely up against some competition. And if you're a home seller, then you're likely to get more value for your home than you would have ever thought that you could. Now, that doesn't mean that we can just set prices on a house higher than the market value, hoping that we just get more than we could imagine. And that would be nice. Everybody would love that. But we are even seeing today that prices are coming down. So they're really more plateaus. So I say coming down in the sense that sellers just are not able to set a price on their house of what they would like to have. They have to be realistic, and we have to stay within our market values. So we're seeing our values kind of plateau. They're not really increasing here, but they are still higher historically than ever in our area, which is great for both home buyers and sellers.
Awesome. Yeah, that's really useful information. I know that, a lot of people are looking at the market and they're probably in a thinking process of, I'm not sure if I should look into buying a home right now or if I should just sit tight for a little bit. So that's really useful. Thank you for that information.
Yeah, we are seeing that. That's a really good viewpoint. We are seeing buyers wonder if they just need to sit back. Really, what we're recommending is that if they still want to purchase a home because interest rates are still good, that they need to look more at what they're comfortable with their house note. So you may not be looking at a home and you say, oh, hey, well, I'd like a home in the 250 or 300 range. What you really need to look at is what is your monthly note that you're comfortable with.
Absolutely. I know that, there are many steps when it comes to purchasing a home, and I think that there's quite a few that are really important. I'd like for you to talk a little bit about what it means to have a realtor and why that's important, why that's a really important first step in the home buying process.
Well, a couple of reasons. One, it is so competitive. So what happens is somebody may, call about one of our listings 4 days later, and they're not working with a realtor. And so what happens is they're way too late. 4 days is too late in this market usually. And so these properties have multiple offers on it. So you really need to have some representation. You need to find a good realtor, somebody that's experienced and somebody that you can trust and work with. And that realtor is going to not only put properties in front of you to where you may even know about it before it actually hits the internet, give you a chance to get in those homes to make an offer, but they're also going to give you really good advice to get your offer accepted. You have to be competitive. I think also it's very important to get pre-approved. If you're going to do a home loan, you must get pre-approved. If you are not pre-approved, you cannot even make an offer because you're going to need that pre-approval letter so that you can show the seller that you are capable and qualified to buy their home. And so you can't wait until after you start looking at homes to get your pre-qualification letter. We do see sometimes when people say, well, the home buyer's like, well, I'm not quite ready yet. I'm just looking. If you're looking at a home, then you need to get pre-qualified. You need to know what type of loan that you're going to go with, what suits you best, what your price point is, how much do you want to spend, what does it cost you to get into that home. So there's a lot of factors that are really looked at in that process. And that's really the first thing that needs to be done if a home buyer is even considering starting to look at homes. It's just to get that pre-qualification letter.
Mm-hmm. So would you say that a pre-qualification letter should probably come before selecting a realtor, or does it work either way? Is there one that's better than the other?
You can really do either. If one of the Neches members comes in and they can get their pre-qualification letter, and then they can work with the realtor, find the right realtor to work with. But really, if you are considering looking for a home, you need to do those two things, maybe even simultaneously, not really necessarily one order or the other. But those are two of the most important things, is to line up who you want to represent you and get your finances in order so you know exactly what you're looking to purchase and what price point, and again, what type of loan.
Mm-hmm. Julie, I've had people ask me before, how do I go about getting a realtor? And I don't think that they realize how easy it actually is. Can you talk to us a little bit about the process of selecting a realtor? And is there any type of approval process on the realtor end?
Sure. So people do it. I think home buyers will sometimes use family members or use friends. I would recommend, even if you look at more than one person, maybe even interview before you hire a realtor, because you want to make sure that that person's experienced. Because if they're going to represent you, you want to make sure that they are experienced and knowledgeable. You also want to know that you can trust them. So sometimes, what I would think is, sometimes even asking your friends or your family who they have maybe used and were they happy with them? What do they like about them? What do they not like about them? What is important to you in a realtor? Is it somebody that's calling you back? Is it somebody that's finding the right home for you and somebody that's going to stand up for you? So I think there's some of the factors of what's important to you, and then talking to your friends and family who they may have used. You can always go online and you can look at reviews of those realtors. I think most of the time consumers, we look at reviews for anything. And so I think looking at reviews is really important. And I think those would be probably the best advice at looking for a realtor, and somebody that is actually living and working in your market. So you don't necessarily want to hire someone that's out of the area. You want someone that's in your backyard.
Absolutely. And I know that having a good, diligent, compassionate and hardworking realtor can make all the difference in that home buying process to make it go really smoothly. Mm-hmm. I'd really like to break down the home buying process step by step. I know we've talked a little bit about getting a realtor, getting that pre-qualification, but can we talk about it step by step, how it actually looks when it happens?
Sure. So I would say those two things that we talked about already, finding a realtor to represent you, getting your pre-qualification done. Those two things, that realtor will walk you through that process where you'll start looking at homes. Once you determine your loan amount and your house note, where you want to live, you're going to sit down with that realtor and you're going to talk through those things so that you have a plan and you know exactly what you're going to be doing. So then you start looking at houses, and I think that some of the wisest buyers are the ones that do listen to their realtors and give them advice, because in this competitive market, we want to make sure that if you want that house and you're getting advice from your agent, that you follow that advice if you want that home. Because sometimes too, there's kind of a pull of that, well, that's not quite in my budget. If it's not in your budget, then you need to be looking at some different homes that are in your budget you're comfortable with. But I think really getting the advice of that realtor to walk through the process, you looking at homes, once you find the home that you want, is making that offer that can get accepted. And then you're going to be maybe negotiating some repairs and going through some inspection period of time in the first, usually a week or so. And then that appraisal process comes up, and that appraisal process is for the lender to qualify the house and the condition of the house and the value of it to protect the bank and the borrower, and then just prepare to move towards closing. So there's a whole lot of factors. We have like 60 items in our checklist from the time that we start working with someone and checking off those things. So I think basically it's getting those two things in order, start looking at properties, and then be prepared to make an offer. So you must be prepared when you are making your offer. I think that something you have to consider also is it does take about 30 days in that mortgage process. It may be something that you want to talk about, some of the things that maybe buyers really need to be cautious of during that home buying process. So the realtor on our end of it, we are advising and we are walking with our buyer through that process. And as a lender, that y'all have your own ways of protecting the buyer. And I think you have some good things that maybe you could share with buyers, what's happening and what they need to do and not do during that 30-day process. Like, don't go buy a new car, right?
Yes, yes, absolutely. You know, there are a lot of curveballs that come up in that 30-day process. I know from the lending side, it's really important that you pretty much don't make any major moves within that 30-day process. So, you know, no obtaining any new credit, avoid large purchases, any changes in employment, changes in relationship status. And also, you know, just being physically and emotionally prepared for those 30 days. You know, on the lending side, there are some things that do take time. You know, appraisals take up to 2 weeks, title work takes up to 10 days. So when that process is going on, even though it's 30 days, sometimes even longer, there's a lot of work that's being done behind the scenes to make sure that everything is happening.
Yes. Those are some good points. You know, sometimes people don't think about that getting married or maybe even getting divorced during that time period. Those are things that really, before they purchase anything, we always recommend that they talk to their lender. If they're going to make any kind of bank account changes or relationship changes, those are things that we both need to know about so that we can work through and protect those home buyers. Can you talk to them a little bit? We have noticed a lot of new construction, and there's a lot of that going on in our area. Can you maybe share with the buyers, you know, we have some land listings, and land is a hot item. We all are seeing some of those older homes that are being torn down and land being sold for new construction. Can you tell us what Neches, what kind of Neches products they have for new construction loans?
Absolutely. Yeah. You know, I think that that's one that a lot of people don't know much about when it comes to, you know, land being listed. They think, well, gosh, how am I going to, you know, afford $80,000 to purchase a piece of land? Neches actually does a loan called interim construction loan. And what that means is you can actually get the land and your home build within the same loan. The way that process works, you will have to come to the lender first, and that way you can know what your buying power is. So it'll work similar to, you know, getting pre-qualified for that mortgage loan, but your loan officer will be able to look at your situation and be able to pre-qualify you for your buying power with in regards to the land and the build. From there, you're going to be able to take that budget, pick your builder, and you'll be able to take that budget to your contractor and let them know this is your budget and these are my plans, and we need to make the two coincide with one another. The way that our interim construction loans work, it is 10% down, and there is no PMI with those. It's private mortgage insurance. It is an in-house loan as well. Another thing that a lot of people don't know is you don't have to pay for the land up front. So the land can actually be included into the cost of the loan. It doesn't have to be. If you do want to pay for your land up front, that's great as well, because it adds more equity into your house and it's less closing costs for you at the end. If that is something that you are interested in, I highly recommend getting in touch with our home loan team. They are so knowledgeable when it comes to all of our home loans, especially our interim construction loans, and they can walk through that process with you, let you know everything that you need to know, how to get started with that, and just walk you through the process to make it as smooth as possible.
Yeah, I think you mentioned a couple of really good points that buyers may not be aware of that I really like about Neches. One is that all the loans are in-house. That means when they pay their house note, it's not going to be sold many times to where they're going to change where their check is going. So they always pay Neches. They can always contact somebody within Neches to get assistance with their mortgages. I also really like that Neches can do some different things. They really look at the individual in the circumstances of the individual. So the credit score is something that's not even looked at, in the sense that I say it's not even looked at. So it's not a criteria where that loans have to have a certain minimal credit score. I really like that the team at Neches will look at the individual circumstances, and they can do some different things, especially with those loans being in-house. And I really like that. It helps out a lot of home buyers.
Yeah, absolutely, Julie. You know, we do get that question a lot on, do I have to have a minimum credit score to get a mortgage loan with Neches? And with Neches in particular, no, you don't. Like Julie said, we look at a lot of different factors. Your credit score is just one piece to a very big puzzle. Our mortgage loan officers like to call it relationship lending, because that's exactly what it is. We look at so many different things, and especially for someone who is a Neches member, it means a lot to us, your membership and your good pay history, your loyalty to Neches. So all of those things are things that are considered when it comes to approving someone for a home. It's not just about your credit score. And like Julie said, the good thing about our mortgage loan team is they will do anything and everything to make sure that they can help you as much as possible. Like Julie said earlier, you may not be able to qualify for the size home that you were hoping for, but we can always try to, look at all of the avenues and see if we can help you in any way.
That's good.
Well, Julie, I think that we could use the rest of the time that we have left to open up some Q&A. I know that I have a few questions that came in prior to the webinar starting. And for those attendees that are here with us, if you have any other questions, just put it in the chat. And if we have time, we'll be sure to get those answered. I'll go ahead and start off with one that I got, Julie. One of the questions was, how do I know how much I qualify for? And the way that works is, you'll call our home loan team and you'll meet with them. And there are quite a few things that go into play with that. They're going to need tax return history from the previous 2 years. They will also need to know what your monthly income is. So you'll give them pay stubs for that. And then they will also need to know what your monthly obligations are, as far as any, bills that you pay, any debts that you owe. So those are the things that go into play with deciding what you qualify for.
Yeah, that's a good point. I got one that I do see come in sometimes, that someone who may not feel like they qualify for a loan, or maybe they need to qualify for a much lower loan. We're seeing all these great fixer-uppers on TV where they buy a piece of junk and they go in and they fix it up. So what I think that what we're not seeing is that a lot of times those properties don't qualify for loans, because there are guidelines for those loans. And so usually those purchases are going to be like an all cash kind of deal. So I think that if someone's in the market thinking about fixer-uppers, or saying, hey, I don't have a lot of money, so I want to look at something like that, maybe like around $30,000 or something, they need to know that the home has to qualify for loans. So that's also something they would want to visit with their lender and also visit with their agent about. But that's something that we do see come in. And that was a question that somebody had posed to me earlier also.
That is a good question. I know that the fixer-upper and those type homes are very popular today, and a lot of people watch a lot of HGTV, which I watch it. I love it. But it's good to have some realistic information on that. One question that we got was, how long do I have to be at my current job to qualify for a mortgage loan with Neches? So we do ask that you have been employed for 2 years. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you needed to be with the same company for 2 years, just within the same line of work. So an example of that is if you did a secretarial position at one company for 1 year, and then you did a secretarial position at another company for another year, you're still in the same line of work for those 2 years. And so that does qualify. One thing that is an exception is for college students who have just recently graduated and they are looking to buy a home. We do make an exception with that if the student is working in the same field that they studied in. So an example of that would be someone who went to school for nursing, and maybe they were in school for 4 years getting that degree, and now they are newly working at a hospital as an RN. That type of situation we can look at and use that instead of 2 years as employment.
Oh, that's good information. That's good to know. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, most definitely. A lot of people don't know that. And, I actually spoke with our mortgage loan team on that. And it was important to them that we put that out there because there are a lot of college students that just recently graduated and, they get on their feet and they think that they can afford a house note. They want to start looking for a home, but they really don't know where to start because they're not sure if they need to be employed for 2 full years. So that is definitely good information to know.
Mm-hmm.
Another question that we got, we already kind of touched base on that earlier is, is there a minimum credit score that I have to qualify for a mortgage loan with Neches? And, we touched on that no, we do look at a lot of different things. A little bit of history, credit unions were actually founded because there were people who didn't qualify for loans at other institutions. So Neches still holds true to that same culture today. And our loan officers, they are very diligent in making sure that they can help our members in any way that they possibly can.
Good. I think there's been a lot of great information. It all even goes back to getting with the right lender, the right realtor, getting prepared, getting the ducks in a row, and getting just the right professionals around you that can help you purchase that home that you want and guide you through the process. And you mentioned it earlier, it's a little bit emotional and physically taxing, and that's for sure. It can be an emotional roller coaster for buyers, making offers on homes that they love, and then they may not get their offer accepted. That's two of getting with a really good realtor so that you get your offer accepted in this crazy market that we have. But it's definitely still a really good investment is purchasing a home in our area. And I think that you've really given some good information to these home buyers of their options of what Neches can do for them.
Absolutely. And Julie, just like you said, having a good lender, I think that having a good lending team and a good realtor go hand in hand with that process. Like you said, it can be an emotional process, because those 30 days, there are going to be a lot of documents that are asked for, and there are a lot of things going on behind the scenes. But having a good realtor, having a good lender, it makes all the difference. And I know that I speak for Neches and I speak for Julie when I say that we are both here for you. If you are looking at purchasing a home anytime soon, we would be happy to help you. For Julie, I know that you can reach out to them on their Facebook page. It is SETX Properties, and it's Neil and Julie Sanders, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. And then their website is www.setxproperties.com.
Yes, we'll be glad to help anyone and direct them. I think we have a question in the queue.
Okay. Oh, I see one right here. It says, how do I choose between a conventional and an FHA loan? You know, that's a really good question. I think that that is a very individualized decision. You know, one is going to be better for you than the other. So it really just depends on what your situation looks like. You know, for conventional loans, you do have to put that 10% down in your closing costs, whereas for an FHA, you put down 3.5%. So there's no one that is better than the other. I think that they both have positives that come with them, but you know, you just have to look at your situation as a whole and determine what is best for you, because some people may not be able to afford the 10%. The 3.5% might be all that they have, and that's okay. When choosing that decision, you know, you can still speak with one of our mortgage loan officers, and they will make sure that they look at your situation and help you to make whatever decision is going to be best for your financial situation in particular.
Yeah.
Let's see. This question says, so if you switch jobs from the education sector to the public service sector, would that be a disqualifier? That's a really good question. I would advise, because they are different, I would advise getting with our mortgage loan team, and they can give you a better answer on, you know, specifically, would that be a disqualifier or not? Or if, because it is, you know, somewhat similar, would they count that as a qualification for 2 years of employment? Let's see. Let's see. I don't see any other questions. Julie, have you gotten any other questions before the
I don't have
webinar?
any other questions. I think we've covered a lot of good information. I hope that it's been helpful.
Yes, absolutely. Well, Julie, thank you so much. And again, if you are wanting to reach out to Julie's team, they are on Facebook at SETX Properties - Neil and Julie Sanders. And if you'd like to go to their website, that is www.setxproperties.com. And also, you know, our Neches home loan team, we offer a lot of different loans that could be helpful to you. We offer mortgage loans with competitive rates, no PMI, low closing cost, and in-house. We offer home equity loans, we offer interim construction loans, and we also offer land loans. So we have a little bit of everything that can be of service to everybody who is in that home buying market. And also, you know, just remember, whether you are purchasing your first home, building your dream home, or looking for that perfect piece of land, Neches is your family, friends, and community.